Hello everybody, welcome back to Train Sim World 3, as this is actually under, and where I last left off was under fully fueled. So today we're going to do the Y111 Car Shop Deliveries. Just to point out, one of the nice changes of the game is they actually tell you when, like, the gold medal, what the gold medal ranking is for the game, so to speak. So in this case, it's 5450. We need to remember that number. I wish I could write it down somewhere. 5450 is what we need to look for AP score. As you can see, my best score was 5830. That got me the gold medal, thinking it was supposed to be much higher than that. And even in later missions, it even tells you what the gold medal is for this. So I'm going to show you how to get gold in Car Shop Deliveries. So let's get this ball rolling and get this train on out of here. So for Y111 Car Shop Deliveries, the car department asking for the bad order cars to be delivered. Head over to the car shop or to the cars and switch them over to the car shop siding so they can be looked at later. This is supposed to take 25 minutes. Apparently it takes me about 40 to do the exact same thing. So let's get started. If we just go to the outside camera, and with post-processing, this should look a whole lot brighter. So this hopefully should be very visible to be able to see what's going on here. You'll notice this train's already moving. It's very slow and very subtle, but you'll see it here in the speedometer over here that we are definitely moving in this direction. And with this train moving, already rolling along, we're just going to let the train do its thing and roll away. While it's doing that, we're going to adjust our switches to make sure our switches are set to the proper places, because we are planning to fix the rolling train. Set this to leader dead and put your independent brake to full application, and that should bring your train to a stop. Next up, we're going to turn on the engine run, gen field, and control and fuel pump on. We're going to put the reverser in forward because we're going to eventually go forward in this train. Headlight in the front going to be medium, headlight in the back going to be dim. We want to turn on our gauge lights, and this is the part where you may not be able to see a whole lot. What I am also going to do is I am also going to turn on the warning light. So the warning lights are here in this switch right here. I'm going to turn this one on. I'm also going to turn on the radio for this particular engine. I'll show you the purpose of this when we get a chance to get there. We're also going to turn on the number lights, both front and back, and we're going to control with unit coupled at long hood end. I do have to set up the engine in the back. I've got a few minutes before that. That is a pretty big, what appears to be moon up there, but it's actually this part of our window that's reflecting. What I want to show you in this here, I think I've got everything set up. Brake handle off, full application, cut out, freight. We're going to put this on freight. That's what I need to, I missed that one little piece there. What I'm going to show you here is the point of the PCS valve. As you can see there, it looks like the PCS valve is open, and I don't exactly know why that is. It's probably because the automatic handle was shut off. If I put this on release, it's probably not going to fix this sort of issue. So where the problem is our PCS valve is no longer working, so we can't drive our train. Probably the alerter, I probably took too much time waiting, and I didn't do a good job there. So in order to fix this, we want to make sure our independent brake is on full application. We want our reverser to be in neutral, and our throttle to be completely off as it is. And we're going to put our automatic brake all the way down to emergency. And what that's going to do is it's going to empty out the brake pipe. We want the brake pipe to be completely empty. And it's 2017 right now, 2018. We need to wait about 2 minutes for this. So we're going to let the brake pipe air out for about 2 minutes. Technically, it's done right now, but the game apparently needs 2 whole minutes to do this. So while we're waiting on that brake pipe, we're going to make sure our handbrake is released in this engine. And we're going to take a walk to the next engine over. We don't have to worry about the actual engine, because we never seem to have oil pressure in these journey missions. At least for the CXX Heavy Haul, we don't have to worry about that one. We're going to cross over to our trailing engine over here. We know the same issue is going to happen in the engine there, so we're not going to bother looking at that. What we are going to do in this particular engine is turn engine run off, turn gen field off, and turn control and fuel pump off. And the only other thing we need to do in here is make sure our independent brake is set to release, automatic handle off, cutout valve to cut out, MU2A valve to trail 626. Don't need to turn the radio on here. Don't need to turn on warning lights in here. We do need to turn on number lights in the front and in the back. And headlight control is control from another unit coupled at either end. And with that, this train is officially set up. We are currently at 2019, so we have a few more minutes to go before that thing is ready. Handbrake is released. Emergency valve is shut. So we're good here. We're going to leave this engine and head back to our front engine. Our train still cannot leave just yet, at least until we reset the PCS valve. Don't exactly know how it turned on, but I think I do, because I think it was because I accidentally left the handle as off, so to speak, and it decided to shut itself off while I was trying to do some other stuff here. So with it now officially being nearly about 2 minutes, I can now officially turn this brake all the way back to release, and you'll notice the PCS valve officially turned off, and that was the end. And we're going to leave this on release for now because we are going to go. Once this is filled up to 89, we're going to be heading out, releasing our independent brake, bailing that off, setting our throttle forward, and I'm going to actually go forward by maybe throttle 3. And we'll go back in the outside cam and we'll see what we're doing. Hopefully the wheel won't slip. We'll know if we have a slipping wheel, if we go fast enough for it. Essentially it's going to come down to this. So we have to make sure that this doesn't accidentally go down too far where our wheels do slip. I also don't want to speed either. Don't want to try to maintain my speed as much as I can. We're looking for our nice customary 5400, so to speak, 5500, 5600 for our wonderful... Oh, I already forgot something. I forgot to turn on the heat. Let's go ahead and do that. Turn on the heat. We're looking for about 54, 5600 for our AP score. There it goes. Both of us have heat. Now we're both happy. And we're going to be driving over that way to the VIA location. But while we're here, we are right about where the cars are. Set up a little independent brake to slow me down here. So 3 of the cars are going to end up right here. So we're going to park 3 of the cars here on this siding. The next set of 3 cars are going to be parked right here on this siding. And then the last set of 2 cars are going to be parked a little ways back there behind the building. Since we're going to be parked here and since our engines are already rolling along, I realized I forgot the bell. So there goes my bell. And that probably helped with a couple other things anyways. We want to make sure our switches are going to be set here anyhow. We're going to be turning to the right. So this switch is perfectly fine. And then this switch here is set to... Actually, this one's here set straight, so we're going to turn this one to the right, so that way we go that way. And this one, we already know the switch is set just fine, so we're not going to worry about this switch. We're actually going to VIA location, so I already got these switches all set up to go right across onto the other side there. And why I'm doing this with alerters is in Train Sim 4, what they're going to start including is a platinum level medal. And the only way you can get platinum level medal is you got to have your alerters on, you got to have your warning lights on, you got to deal with these warnings that pop up in here. Whether the wheel slip warning, the PCS open slip, or brake warning, or even the sand warning. There's the alerter, it's already going off. I don't hear it because the sound's much too low for me. I did that because I don't need to hear the loud humming of the engine doing his thing, and so instead we prefer to kind of tone down the bell and the engine, especially since we spend a lot of time outside like this, just driving around kind of like this. Let's just take this picture here. That seemed kind of nifty. In the meantime, we better slow down or it's going to be a little too late here. 1, we're going to end up speeding, and 2, we're going to end up speeding. So we already have 560 AP, so we're in a pretty good shape right now. Let's slow this train down to at least 10 miles an hour, then 5 miles an hour. And we want to try to come to a dead stop at that 320 feet there. We know our engine by itself is at about 388 feet. Well, actually, that's not right. 132 feet. But once we couple up cars, we're going to have some other problems with the size there. So we do have to keep in mind how big our back of our train is. Can I make this current... Oh, there's the alerter again. So this is where I've got to pay attention to the alerter more often. I wish I could just see a little flash in the middle of the screen. That would be kind of helpful for me. I don't think we're going to stop in time. We might have to give it a little bit of gas because 1.5% grade is not doing it for me. Yeah, we're going to have to give it a little gas here to get over that. Because we're gonna end up stopping too early. It's not going to work. And then we're going to start going backwards. So... that should... maybe a little more. That should... a little more. A little more. Come on, come on. You could do it, train. You could do it just a little bit more. A couple inches. That should finally do it. And what's nice about this is I don't have to move. It's just going to automatically default to it. And then the train's already going to automatically start going reverse. So we're going to let that go reverse. We know we're going to those boxcars back there. So this switch is set, that switch is set, that switch is set, and all we have to do is link up to the boxcars. And what we're going to do here, so one of the challenges, we have 800 feet to do this, so one of the challenges with PCS, and why we even have a PCS valve here, is it actually has a lot to do with the automatic brake system. So let's go to mode 8, and we'll start with mode 3. In mode 3, you can see right there in the front, there's your brake pipes. For the engines, both brake engines, so to speak, are connected to each other, so to speak. So this one happens to be connected over there, and then this one's not connected at all. So the brake pipe from this engine going into the brake pipe of that engine, at least for the automatic brake. And what we want to do down there, this is where camera 8 is going to come in handy while the thing rolls along. Normally, if I was in an engine like myself, I would turn this handle manually to release air into the boxcars. So right now the boxcars have probably like 18 pounds of pressure of air, and I could probably check that on the other end. And we would normally manually connect that brake pipe over to the wonderful system that's here, but we don't have the ability to do that. When the train hits, it automatically does it itself. And I'm going to check the very back of this. I don't think the little LED light is on there yet. No, it is not. So we can't even see what the brake pressure is. This pipe here gets connected to a little box that will tell us what our brake pressure is. So in order to remedy this, we have right now too much brake pressure currently in our system. 89 is not enough. It's going to essentially blow out our engine. And the way to fix this is we're going to set this cutout valve to cutout. And by setting it to cutout, it pretty much prevents the air from going in. And just simply setting it to cutout is more than enough. We don't want to go this forward direction. We're going to keep going backwards, folks. Keep going backwards. Come on, engine. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. There it goes. Perfect. Okay. So when we set the system to cut out, it basically prevents the train from sending air through the entire brake pipe system into the cars and flooding the cars with unwanted air. And so if I do this right, when I link up with these cars here, I should not get a PCS valve open. If I do, it's going to be another 2 minutes of waiting, and that's going to suck, right? If I don't, and I do this right, we should be able to just couple up really easily, and the automatic coupling will happen with no alerts and no warnings. And by the way, the way to keep the alerter off, you can just keep going throttle 1, throttle 2, throttle 1, throttle 2, and that'll automatically do it, or just keep pressing Q every so often, and you don't ever have to worry about the alerter that way either. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and let this link up on its own, and it should not automatically set up the PCS valve. I'll say something once it does. Oh, perfect. We are in good shape here. Coupled for 250 AP. Full application on independent brake. Now, I'm going to actually take the independent brake off for a second. When you normally, if you notice the independent brake is currently full right now. When you normally do this, so you can see there's the brake pipe pressure for the cars itself. There's the reserve pressure that's inside my engine right now, that had I had that cutout set to freight, it would have just shoved this whole thing full of air that didn't need to be in there. And so let's go ahead and put the independent brake back on. It's not going to move. We're going to go back in the engine, and what we see here now is this is now active because the cars are connected together. So it's 18.6 pounds of pressure. And we're going to actually go to camera 3 so you can see what's on there, and you can see something really cool about this. It says there's 19 pounds of pressure in there, and this is the total, essentially the total number of PSIs that's available to this. And in fact, there's instructions down here that tell you exactly what this is all about. So if I did push this button, it would test for the system and how much air is in there. It's really cool that they do this. So as soon as I do stuff with the brake pipe, it will actually work like intended. So to fix this without setting this on freight and causing the PCS to get screwed, basically I'm going to turn on the brake system, and you'll notice that this went from 89 to 80. I'm going to do this a little bit more, and you'll see it goes down to 70. And what we're trying to do is we want to equalize the pressure. So here we are at 58, and so this is now much more equal to the 18.6. And we could also do suppression, for example. If we do emergency, we have to make sure So if I do handle off, you'll notice the thing goes down even more. What we want to do is we want to equalize the pressure between what's in the cars right now and what we have here. So we want to get as close as possible to 18. So 20 is perfect right there. And if we switch the cutout back to freight, you'll notice that it moves right up to 19. And it says that this is comfortable enough. And once we pull this and go ahead and release, both pipes, oh my god, both pipes start to fill up there. I'm trying to do right click, and you also notice this happening there, and if I'm fast enough, you'll also notice this number also climbing as well to become eventually 89. That's exactly where we want the brake pressure to be. So it's slowly filling up to 89, and that's what we're looking for. Once it's at 89, we're going to start heading back that way. While we wait, we can make sure our switches are set. I'm going to go ahead and set this in reverse. Release my independent brake, bail off that, and my train should start to move here. And we do have to worry about that 10-mile-an-hour speed limit right over there. Let's go ahead and zoom over to 10 miles because we want to wait there for this train to roll by. What really sucks about this 10 miles, and it bugs the heck out of me, is that in the forward direction or even in the reverse direction, this is very dependent on the back of the back car. So anything like 10, 15, 20, 25, any of those miles an hour, apparently it'll get triggered as soon as any part of the train rolls over it, which is really dumb, especially the back half of the train. Once the back half rolls over it, it gets triggered. Whereas something like 50, 60, 70, 80, that all gets triggered at the very back of the train versus the very front of the train. So it's kind of dumb how the system recognizes it, and we do have to be careful because we're not doing anything to the alerters eventually going to turn on. This is so annoying when I'm clicking right and I start to drag. So I apologize if I'm like going, woo, let's go make some fun. Going making you all dizzy here. So as we go along, we don't want to go any faster than 10 miles an hour as we speed through this. In the meantime, as for me, the last time I officially recorded, besides like probably 3 hours ago, was probably 1 year ago from today. And the downside, there it goes, back down to 10. The downside about having been gone so long is like, how do I play this game again? Even though I had some demo models of playing, I didn't really play and talk at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to talk and play. So where did I go? Once upon a time, I think that I set it in fully fueled. I might have set it somewhere else. I said something like, hey, I think I probably should go back to school. And that was the end of that, and you never saw me again. Alerter. So that was tricky. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up going back to get my graduate degree. And I was like, it's finally time. I've been dilly-dallying, shilly-shallying about my graduate degree, and I probably just go and get the darn thing. And so I did. I went off and got an MBA. I'm wrapping up my last class next week. My grades will probably get posted 2-3 weeks from now. And then the official degree will show up. Come on, stop already. There it goes. The official degree will show up probably next month sometime. Not next month. Yeah, actually next month. Probably sometime next month. Let's make sure we stop here. It's getting there. I don't want to accidentally drive it through the wall. That would be pretty sad to do that, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. We got to stop this. And so where we are in this game right now, we are currently stopping at the first location after coupling to formation 8 cars. What we have to do is take those 8 cars, divide it in the car shop. Like I said, 3 of the vehicles are the ones here. We're going to do this again with the next 3 and then the last 2 in our timetable, and the rest is just stop and go. So what we're going to do here is we are going to just simply, let's just drop the throttle. We don't need more throttle. We're going to actually lock the handbrake in here to make sure this car does not move. And then, because we have the brake pipes, I believe, set at 80, we're actually going to put this up at full service. And what that will do is lower the brake pressure just a little bit, so that way at least as we release this, it's not just going to blow out a bunch of air. So as soon as we do this, we're going to unlock that there, and we're just going to, for safety's sake, unlock the other half of it. And next we're going to move this train forward. Once it tells us it's ready to go, there it goes. And we're actually switching tracks a little bit. Both back here, so we're actually going to go to this back track there, but we're also going to be switching from this track to that track. So as we go forward, we're going to go ahead and move back into the engine. So I went for a graduate degree for my MBA, and I had to take 2 extra classes, unfortunately. I had to take a writing class and a statistics class. At first I didn't want to. I didn't like it. and I didn't need it. At least that's what my mindset said. But it turned out it was actually a very beneficial decision to have done that. The writing class gave me a lot of tips and pointers about APA style. It gave me ideas about how to write short, concise papers. It even helped with the idea of essentially putting together content and doing research around it. And that was really helpful. So the folks that I had class with that didn't have this, unfortunately for them, they were getting lower grades than I was, so it was really good to have. And the statistics class, I took a lot of math courses. I felt like I didn't need it. I used statistics at work already, so it turned out I had to take it anyhow. But I did learn a lot of information, and it was really handy to have that. I'm going to drop my throttle down one. That will reset the alerter anyways. So I learned things like regression. I learned things on how to do pivot charts, pivot tables, and stuff like that. Now I use it every day at work. In my day job. And what I want to do with a degree ideally is to be able to do stuff with leadership and to help serve the team, so to speak. And what business has done different, instead of saying everything's all about profits, business has really moved forward and gone into people. So how you help people, not just the customers, so making sure customers are happy, but also making sure the team is happy, but you're also dealing with the environment. So there's a lot of work involved with managing the environment and making the environment better and being a good steward to the environment, good steward to the people you work with, and good steward to the customers you serve. And that's what's really neat about business these days. And that's why I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And so I got to learn all sorts of really cool stuff. Right now we're going to stop here, put this back on full service for a second. And now we're going to go back there, and we just have to flip. It should be just the one switch here, and this switch as well, because this would have taken me to the siding over here. So let's go ahead and put the train in reverse and back this up. Release our automatic brake. So far we're doing good. 2650 for AP. I should leave this here because it's the wrong camera to go back in the back. This will do. This will be perfect. And we have to make sure we don't go over 10. It's interesting here. There it goes. I was like, where's the 10-mile-an-hour limit? It didn't show up until just now, until I started moving. That's very interesting. Some of the classes I had, it was all about being a low-level manager and learning how to deal with people. So personal development plans come to mind, and be able to develop like goals and strategies for the individual employee team member, and to learn how to better advance your career, better do career development, career planning, etc. And I probably took that thing for granted every time I had one of those PDPs and never really understood it because no one ever took the time to explain it to me. So this was really cool to have that. You also got to do self-evaluations on yourself to find your weak areas as well as your strength and figure out how to overcome the weak areas while still building on the strengths. You also got to learn about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which pretty much comes in any kind of position. And then as the class goes along, you move up the career ladder, so to speak, and eventually become a CEO of a company. So you get to learn things about how to buy out companies, how to research companies, how to research competitors, which I found that extremely interesting. I'm just going to blow the horn over the street here. I know you probably don't have to. There's nobody on the street. It is late at night. The odds of somebody even being here is pretty low. In fact, it says it's 2039. I should probably just looked up there. 2039, so it's obvious nobody's going to be there. But you just never know, right? But yeah, so as the thing goes through, you start learning about branding opportunities. You learn about HR. You learn about how to be... what really surprised me with HR is more than just a paycheck. HR really has a lot to do with business, but a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses fail to use their HR properly, and so that's critical. You learn about innovating businesses, you learn about innovating products, and innovating pretty much everything. And so what's a fantastic degree to learn from. I got to learn from different companies like FedEx, UPS, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Amazon, and Microsoft, and all that, the more common named businesses. But then you also learn about businesses you probably never heard of, some of them made up by the school, some of them not. And just to go through those businesses and really kind of understand their nuances of what made that business the business, which is really surprising, honestly. And I think by now the throttle probably should turn off because we're at a good space here. So our car is about 417 big. We're about just a little under 600. So if you think about that, 400 we hit the wall, or at least we hit this at 400 with our engine, so to speak. So we want to make sure we're at a good spot for stopping. So we're going to go ahead and turn on initial reduction briefly, just to get this a little slower. We also got to deal with takeover, learning how to do business takeover, so to speak, if I wanted to buy out a company, or if I wanted to, company just went under, belly up, and how to deal with fallout around belly up businesses, how to deal with mergers and acquisitions, how to deal with selling off a company, which was really interesting. And so you go through the whole gambit of different business environments. And so what's nice about an MDA is it really does open a bunch of doors. So I don't have to stay in one field. So let's just say I'm into construction. I don't have to stay in construction. I can move into real estate. I can move into healthcare. I can move into biotech. I can move into AI. I can move into trains, right? And so it's very versatile as a degree. And that's kind of what I was looking for, to open more doors rather than less. So that way, whenever I took a leadership position, I can keep it in the same job I'm in, or I can do a leadership position with a totally different company. I could do private, I could do public, I could do nonprofit. Give me options. For now, I'm doing YouTube. Because I want to have fun again. I haven't had fun in a good year. This should get me to stop right on a dime. This should be good enough. Yeah, this is good enough. We're going to let the train stop all the way. Okay, perfect. Uncouple vehicle, 3 vehicles to uncouple. We're going to hit the alerter so that way it doesn't bug me while we're doing this. And we're going to step the handbrake here. Lock this one down. What I love about Train Sim World, doesn't matter the version of it, it does a fairly good job on the realism side. I have been watching Derail Valley, and I'm not sure if I like it. I don't like the time limit associated with it. One of the things I like about Train Sim World is the fact that the timeline doesn't really exist. Don't get me wrong, it does say at the very top here, start of service, and it's keeping track of my minutes and everything. It's supposed to be a 25-minute job, but like, honestly, oops, this is going the wrong way. Forward. Hopefully I don't take the cars with me. Make sure I don't take those cars with me. Bail off. We know this is going to get 89 pretty quick, so no rush there. I should be only taking 3 cars with me. That what's happening there? Okay, good. It is. Okay, good. Or 2 cars with me. Never mind. We're going to park those 2 cars right here on this siding, so we just need to go over there and park and then come back. You really don't need to use the automatic brake, but I'm going to do it anyways. We're here. And what I'm going to try to do, if I keep up this warning system I've got on here, we'll try to keep on doing this. Oh boy, I got to stop. I got to stop. I got to stop. I got to stop. Stop, 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 stop. Whoa, 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 whoa. There it goes. Woo! It worked. Okay, wow. Almost missed my stop there. Switch the one switch back the other way, and we shall go backwards for the end of this. Actually, almost the end of this game. The only thing I've got to do, technically, is just return the engine, and they're going to get returned right where we started. We're at 39.30, and we have 1 stop and actually 3 stops. Each stop's worth 500 AP. The uncoupled are all worth 250 AP. And then, of course, just driving around worth 30 if you stay under speed limit. If you go over the speed limit, it's about 15. So it behooves you to do a good job. So 500, 1,000, 1,500, 1,500, 1,750, something like that. So that would put us at 4,000, 5,000. We'd probably be over and would officially make the official goal. Am I going to turn? It says it's red, so I should be able to turn. Yeah, but where I was going with Derail Valley, it's I like the game. I like the premise behind it. I like the fact that we're driving railroads like this, and some of it just junky and just terrible. But I am a little worried that something like Derail Valley, just the time limit thing, would just throw me off, because that's where you get your bonuses. And don't get me wrong, you could probably still play it without the bonuses, but it's just, you just feel like you need the bonus to do it. One thing nice about Derail Valley is you actually have control over this lever, and you have more control over a lot of things. Derail Valley is meant to be a VR game. Could get VR headset and play it that way, but maybe one day. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, with Train Sim World, in this particular game, so this game, CSX long haul, or heavy haul, oh my god, I'm saying it wrong. Wow, CSX heavy haul for the Sand Patch grade, that was originally made as a beta game for Train Sim. Oh, there's those guys again. Hi. These guys are actually going to go down this track here, and they're going to come around on the other side of the track. I kind of want to follow them just to see where the heck they go. It'd just be really interesting to know. Just something fun to do, right? But yeah, so This was a beta for Train Sim World 2017, and when the game officially released, there's my alert, 2017 officially released, they actually expanded the number of missions, expanded the number of opportunities. As they've been releasing games, the Train Sim World came out, the original Train Sim World, which 2017, 18, 19, and 20, those games essentially had this in there, and Train Sim World 2 brought it back, but what happened after that is anything after that allows us to play this particular game, but it doesn't update anything. So none of the graphics are getting updated, none of the dynamic weather is getting updated, so basically it's always going to be dark, it's always going to be raining on certain levels and so on. There's some benefits and there's some drawbacks to that sort of thing, you know what I mean? Let's go put this on full service, and for right now I'm going to put on my independent brake because I'm going to unhook these two cars here. I'm going to unlock handbrake, we're going to tighten up. I love just watching like how this whole thing works and how this whole piston works. So if you notice, I should get in a better angle here. If you notice, when I turn the handle, I'm actually pulling on that piston down there, and that piston pulling on this hydraulic right here, which is locking the brake, and that's setting up a whole thing with this going in there, and that all locks the brake in here, and pretty much locks down the rail car. I could lock down both as two separate brakes, but we don't need to because we're just driving off of this one engine here. Did I even uncouple? I didn't even uncouple anything. So let's go ahead and do that. The uncouple preferably needs to be this one, or these brakes won't actually uncouple properly because this will always try to recouple itself, which is kind of annoying, you know? So we're going to be driving. See, there it goes. It went right back to lock again. And you see how that kind of almost reconnected itself. So as long as I kept this one unlocked, it will properly put this in the proper place. So we're going to move this forward now. And what does this say here? 40 PSI. Oh, I have to bail that off. So even on here, you can see it changing the number on there. And it even changes the number of PSI that's available inside the system as well, which is really cool to see. I probably should get back in the front engine. Oh, hello. I'm like, why am I not moving? The independent brake is on. Good thing I did that, right? So where we're going to stop is we're going to stop roughly, for whatever reason, we have to pass both of these switches and go all the way back over here, which is so dumb. We're going up this road, so I mean, why can't we just like just go to here and then go back up? But yeah, we're going to be going all the way back and parking our engine up there. It's weird that they don't park the engine down in a siding. Like one of these sidings here would be fantastic, or even just leaving the engine here would be perfect. Or preferably just parking it right back in this spot here. That would have been the better place to put this engine. I gotta keep in mind how fast I'm going, because I'm just gonna speed at some point here, and I don't want to speed just yet because we're going downhill and we have to kind of keep that in mind. We gotta stop now. 80 feet, we gotta stop. Yeah, without these markers, this would be so much easier to do because I wouldn't have to go as far. Stop right here, full application, and then what we're going to do is on that switch there, not this one, not this one, not this one, but that one there. This one here is actually for that switch on that side. So that's going to get us to go back, and we're going to go ahead and move this train in reverse and throttle this up and release our independent brake and take us back the rest of the way, and we should be good to go. It's kind of funny how this little light there is there, and the ditch lights are operating on the back of this guy. It's weird how the ditch lights don't actually translate all the way through, but that's okay. So basically your stop location is the last one, so that would put it at 5770 unless I get one more AP between here and there. There's a good chance I will, because the AP is about every 300 yards or so, especially if you stay under the speed limit. If you just kind of keep it right on the edge of the speed limit, you'll start racking up AP points pretty decently. So this is why I tend to drive about 13-14 miles an hour right on the edge, but it also puts me at risk when I go kind of fast that I could see speed range right off the bat and end up like going, oh my, I gotta stop. So that's how it goes, you know. And bringing our independent brake to bear, there's our AP, our last AP, that's 5300 right there. Hitting to slow down, and we've already got the gold medal because we know 5400 is our gold medal. So all we got to do is just make our final stop. And so as we come to a stop and as the final score comes on, as usual, you know, do like, do subscribe, please leave me comments and whatnot. If the brightness is too bright, please let me know. If the music's too loud, please let me know. If you want to hear more of the engine, please let me know. I'm more than happy to make some of those changes for you. I don't have all the routes, obviously, but what I was thinking of doing was starting with things like CXX Heavy Haul, and then working my way to like some of the earlier releases and just starting with some of the earlier games. The ones that have more bugs like this one does. Alright, so that covers it, and we are at 5,800, objective complete. We're not going to see the gold medal on the screen, but I do have a screenshot of my gold medal. I'll probably put that on screen briefly, just so you can see what there. I've got level 10 for the train, I've got Sand Patch grade level 11, and I'm at level 15, yay. I stayed under the speed limit the whole way, and as usual, 39 minutes, that's really good, actually, that's super good. Probably my fastest drive yet. Almost at 25, my goodness. Alright folks, like, subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one. Bye, everybody. But one thing I'm going to do different here is when I couple up this engine, I'm going to put this to cut out valve to cut out on purpose so I don't just accidentally flood the brake pipes of those rail cars. That would be pretty terrible to flood it and set off my CTS valve. So I don't want to do that at all. Let's go ahead and get this train moving. There it goes. Let's go to at least about 10 miles an hour and we should be good to go.